What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So looking into this upcoming week for data points, we have the trade balance that is coming out this evening at 10 p.m. And then aside from that, though, you have GDP, industrial production, and retail sales coming out on Tuesday evening, all of which could really move a lot of the Chinese stocks. So again, something to kind of watch, but it is going to be mostly tariff related and EU related. That's what's going to be really moving the market. And there was a big development that did come out on Saturday that should really push the broader market higher on Monday, and that was this. So the US granting tariff exclusions, and that's going to be from computers, smartphones, and chip making equipment. So even though NIO isn't part of this right here for face value and a lot of other stocks, I think in general it will have a nice boost because of that, because consumers' buying power will be seen as increasing, and just the broader sentiment as well. So Monday should be a fairly kick-ass day. And then aside from that, I don't know if there's any planned meetings for this week, but any developments coming from the whole China EU negotiations on EV tariffs, that's going to be a big deal for NIO. And in previous videos when I brought that up, I always get these comments saying that it's not that big of a deal and it won't really benefit NIO. I kind of beg to differ. So of course NIO's been struggling in Europe for a very long time, but when that news did drop in 2024, it caused NIO itself to go up from roughly $5.32 to a high of $7.71 between September the 23rd and October the 2nd. So it will definitely benefit NIO. Of course, if EU tariffs are dropped, then the question is NIO going to revert back and start its expansion in Europe again? And are they still going to do layoffs? It's NIO, as far as news, has been flip-flopping quite a lot. So they initially said that they're going to do layoffs, then they countered that, then they went back, and as of right now, I believe that layoffs in Europe are still on. So we'll have to wait and see how that all does develop. But nonetheless, though, even though NIO's presence in Europe isn't significant, it still will benefit the stock price. So something again to keep in mind. A couple of things did come out I wanted to share with you. So this was just posted today. So NIO did reach 100,000 deliveries in Shanghai. Huge milestone. So that should really incentivize maybe some buying coming from algorithmic trading. So Monday should be pretty kick-ass on a lot of different fronts. But the only other thing I wanted to bring up was this. So it looks like a new referral incentive, and that's going to be up until the end of June. So that's going to be a good thing. And again, going back to the whole EU type of negotiations, if that is dropped, then you'll probably see a whole new level of incentives for Europe, because that's something that NIO did generally do quite a lot. So again, something just to kind of keep in mind. I feel like this right here isn't that like amazing that you need to drop what you're doing and buy NIO because of these incentives, but it's coming from an investor standpoint, it's just something good to know for marketing purposes. Shorts. So 14.64% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 232.81 million shares overall are being shorted. On Friday, shorts did return 1.19 million shares. So logically, they will be mitigating risk this upcoming week, no different than what they did back in kind of end of March. So when it went from roughly 16% short interest to about 15.82 to 13.61. Most likely that'll be coming over the next little bit, adding good amount of buying pressure, because again, if shorts ever return, that's adding some buying pressure. So should make for a interesting week ahead as well from multiple different levels and fronts. But with NIO's kick-ass Friday going up 7.32%, you did have it close above a key strike price. So this is all the open interest. So you have 6,000 at that 3, 20,000 at that 350. So works out to be 2.6 million shares do need to be covered based on these call options. So market makers most likely will be going to the open market to buy those stocks just to cover, because they don't have a lot of volatile stocks such as NIO on hand. So that could give a nice little bump up come Monday. So Again, another element to kind of watch for. This is the open interest for this upcoming week. So you have a lot of big walls right here. So the reason why I bring this up is technically if NIO gets close to, let's say, the 450, or a lot of these big strike prices, you could see shorts wake up just to try to suppress it below those strike prices to ensure that they kind of expire worthless. So you have 11,000 at that 3, 22,000 at that 350, 76,000 at that 4, 110,000 at that 450, 97,000 at that 5. Most likely a lot of that will be expiring worthless, but still something to kind of keep in mind. But it's a monthly chain, so it's always very, very active. So something just to kind of, again, add to your watch list. So by closer to the end of the week, if NIO is close to a lot of these strike prices, just watch for shorts. But with it closing at $3.52 on Friday, trading between this S1 and this S2, so 310 is going to be a strong support. But I did bounce off of that in the early part of last week, so we know that's a good support level. Flip side, $3.56 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. So given everything that I did mention, I think it is fair to assume that it will be opening up above that and possibly even well above that. And even on the technical standpoint, so on the actual chart itself, so it's a very wide gap for that needs to be filled. So if you believe in that mentality, gap needs to be filled and stuff like that. But couple key points to really watch for: NIO and that 50-day moving average, which is at $4.28, which I know some people might be saying, hey, that's way too far for NIO to get to this week. Like I said, you have EU negotiations, you have and will most likely have that nice bump up because of the tariffs. You also have possibly on Tuesday, the weekly registration numbers. NIO's just good momentum. A lot of reasons and a lot of big kind of hype behind that. So you could see that 428 possibly, but I think depending on the momentum at the time, it might bounce off of that or something else. But $4.28 is going to be something just to watch for. And then also that 100-day moving average at $4.37. So a couple key things to just add to your, just be aware of. One thing to take note of though is at $4.10, that general area, that is that super trend. So potentially if it is able to get above that, then you'll have algorithmic trading really working on your side, because AI will be considering NIO's technicals to be very bullish. So a couple of things to really watch for, but I think there's a lot of good reasons to be rather optimistic for this upcoming week. There hasn't been any recent analyst ratings. So the last one was done, I think, 4 days ago or something like that. So 350 𝗪𝗧𝗪, who has a 38% success rating, and he hit NIO, Tesla, Polestar, and Rivian all with some negative ratings. So take that with a grain of salt. I think more and more institutions are coming out saying because of Trump's tariffs, it's going to cause like a global recession. But I think from what we've seen, honestly, everything that Trump ever states, I would not price that in, because it could easily switch just like one day. Like, it's crazy what is happening. But let me know your general thoughts on NIO. Where do you see things going? Do you think that it is a bearish week? Are you optimistic? Do you think that the 428-ish area will be hit? And so again, that's the 50-day moving average. What's your kind of 2 cents on all of that? One final thing, pop over to my Patreon. I give buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point and bangers. So definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.